Hello and Assalamualaikum. My name is Mohammad Iddin and we are from Group 7 and we would like to present our 3 heat transfer experiments which concludes experiments from conduction, convection and radiation. For the introduction, the movement of heat thermal energy brought on by temperature differentials as well as ensuing distribution and variations in temperature are referred to heat transfer. The exchange of mass, momentum and energy through radiation, convection and conduction is the focus of research and transport phenomena. Mathematical formulas can be used to describe these processes.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Norzul Azrie bin Nozlan and I will talk about the conduction. Conduction is a heat transfer where the thermal energy is transported through a material without the material itself moving. The process occurs at the microscopic level where vibrating particles such as atoms or molecules transfer kinetic to neighboring particles. The rate of heat conduction depends on the temperature, the properties of the material and the area. Conduction is typically the dominant form of heat transfer, with metal being particularly good conductor due to the precise free-moving electron.
Okay, so we are going to proceed with the experiment. The nails should fall if we burn the As you can see, the nails have fallen to the table. This is because the heat spread throughout the metal bar and this is caused by conduction.
So from the analysis can we get from this experiment, the thermal conduction of metal rod. On heating the rod, the weight is melt. Heat is transferred from the hotter to the coldest end of an object by the process conduction. Thus, the nail which is the nearest to the flame was dropped first. So, the thermal conductivity decreased with an increases in temperature, but material like metal at low temperature it might increase. The calculation can we get from the formula is K equal to QL over A T2 minus T1. So, after we calculated, we get the thermal conductivity from this experiment is 57.14 watt meter Celsius.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Mohammad Eiman Salman bin Edham Lutfe. I will be explaining about convection. Convection can be defined as heat transfer through a fluid is by convection in the presence of bulk fluid motion and by conduction in the absence of it. It involves the combined effects of conduction and fluid motion. The faster the fluid motion, the greater the convection heat transfer happen. In this experiment, it is called natural convection because the fluid motion is caused by the buoyancy force that are induced by density difference due to the variation of temperature in the fluid. The rate of convection heat transfer is observed to be proportional to the temperature difference, and it is conveniently expressed by Newton's law of cooling.
So our next experiment will be about convection. As you can see, we have normal cold water and hot water that we put some coloring to differentiate both of the water. I will put the hot water into the cold water. As you can see, the hot water will flow up from the container. This is because the density of the hot water is lower than the cold water. So the hot water will move to the upside of the container, and as you can see, the hot water is flow slowly. The greater the flow, the greater the convection that happens.
From the experiment, we can see that the convection that happened is a natural convection, which the fluid caused by buoyancy forces that are induced by density difference due to variation of temperature in the fluid in the container. The density of hot water is lower than the cold water. The rate of convection depends on the flow. The greater the flow, the greater the rate of convection. Because of the density of hot water is lower than the cold water, the hot water will be on the upside of the container, while the cold water will be on the downside. As we calculate, we get the heat transfer coefficient to be 24.75 watt.
So we go to the next part, which is the radiation. What is radiation actually mean in heat transfer? So, in theory, radiation in heat transfer is a process where heat waves are emitted that may be absorbed, reflected, or transmitted through a colder body. The transfer of heat through the radiation is not dependent on the presence of insulating material, in contrast to conduction and convection. So, radiation heat transmission is the fastest. It happens at the speed of the light and is unaffected by vacuum. This is pathway via which solar energy gets to the earth. Thermal radiation, or the kind of the radiation that body produce due to temperature, is the type of radiation that we are interested in heat transfer investigation. When a body temperature rises over 0 degree, thermal radiation is released. All solid, liquid, and gases produce, absorb, or transmit radiation to a wide degree because radiation is a volumetric phenomenon.
In this part of video, I will show you about how I make an experiment related to radiation. So, my apparatus is simple. First, I need the beaker, and then thermometer, cup of holder, a cup of water, and lastly the boiling water. So the first is we need to pour the hot water into the beaker to measure the volume of the hot water. So in this experiment I use the 100 millimeter, and then we take out the thermometer to determine the initial value of the temperature of boiling water, and then we pour again into the cup water. Then we need to wait 10 minutes for the cooling down of the boiling water. So after 10 minutes passes, so we take out the thermometer and then we measure again, but this is the final temperature of the after the cooling down.
In conclusion, heat transfer theories are applicable to our daily life activities. With heat transfer, we can predict the outcome of our experiments before they are done, and we can expect what we can obtain from our experiment. Heat transfer is very important as we can study the usage of convection, conduction, and radiation in our daily lives. With the experiment being done, we can practice what we have learned in class, and we can apply this knowledge when working in the field later on. By doing this experiment, it has taught us everything can be solved with equation and numbers. Thank you.